Happy Valentine's Day. Even if you're not celebrating with someone, take a moment to love and celebrate yourself. Now, this occasion inspired me to explain to y'all how exactly the best romance in Atlus's storied history somehow came from the one game that they expressly decided not to include romance in. I'm of course referring to the relationship between the protagonist and Euphausia Etereika, otherwise known as Eupha. I'm going to elucidate the why behind my claim, and in doing so, I will teach you philosophical concepts that you will begin to recognize every time you encounter a fictional story and think to yourself, wow, I really love their relationship. There will be very minor spoilers for Metaphor ReFantazio in this one, so regardless of if you played or not, you can stick around and have a listen and learn something cool. With all that said, let's get into today's agenda. So I believe a key factor for the perfection and resulting resonance of the protagonist and Eupha's relationship is the fact that it exemplifies Greek philosopher Aristotle's theory of love from his famed work Nicomachean Ethics. I will define the philosophy and then give clear connected examples to said philosophy from the game, so stick with me here. In Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle argues that there are three types of love and that there is a clear hierarchy of which form of love is the most powerful. The lowest form of love is love of utility, so this is when you love someone because they're useful, right? So think of business partners or study partners or any type of networking friendship. These types of relationships exist for mutual benefit, and when the utility disappears, the relationship dissolves. Think about it. How many people have you lost touch with over the years who used to be classmates or co-workers or teammates? Love of utility is the lowest form because it's not about the person, it's about what they provide. Aristotle's second ranking form of love is love of pleasure. This is when you love someone because they're enjoyable. This could be anything from physical attraction to shared humor to just a general chemistry that you can't exactly put your finger on. This is where most romantic relationships start, and while it is intense, it can be unstable. When pleasure fades, the bond can weaken. You hear about couples who just stop being attracted to each other due to a dynamic shift or an appearance changing over time. Relationships that are built solely around love of pleasure and they're often volatile and not capable of lasting, which is why it ranks as Aristotle's second form of love. Though he doesn't dismiss it, he just deems it as incomplete. Aristotle's highest form of love is love of virtue. So the idea behind this is that you love someone because of who they are, their character. And this is a love more powerful than the two prior forms. You admire their courage or their integrity, their sense of justice or their wisdom, and they admire yours. This love is stable because virtue is stable. It's not based on mood or circumstance. I'll say it again because it's very important, right? This form of love is not based on mood or circumstance. You're not just enjoying each other, you're not just using the other person for favors, you are committed to the essence of who they are, and you are committed to flourishing together. Aristotle's belief was that the best relationships are partnerships in flourishing. It's shared moral striving. Allow me now to provide specific examples that support my thesis that Eupha and the protagonist relationship embodies Aristotle's theory of love, specifically the highest form, love of virtue. Out of the gates, the deepening of Eupha and the protagonist relationship is centered on admiration of character. In spite of the fact there are multiple people that Eupha can go to learn about the outside world, she goes to the protagonist. This kicks off a causal chain where eventually Eupha's brother Edeni tells him about a Mustari trial that would benefit Eupha to undergo, as it would essentially be an effective pulse check for if she's ready to leave the island or not. What stands out in relation to Aristotle's theory of love is that Eupha goes out of her way to say to the protagonist that, knowing you'll be at my side, I do find my courage. One of Aristotle's famous quotes is that a friend is another self. And the idea behind this is that a virtuous partner mirrors your moral identity back to you. When they admire your courage, you see yourself as courageous. When they trust your integrity, you're motivated to uphold it. Love reinforces virtue through reflection, and that feedback loop strengthens character. I want to avoid major spoilers in this one, so I'll just say that the protagonist's actions in the main story prior to the social link are the reason why Eupha sees him as a friend or another self in which she can find courage. This concept is further cemented after they complete the Mustari trial that Edeni had prescribed. As she reflects on the events of the main story where her awakening took place, she states outright that while she's aware that she's at the beginning of her journey and inexperienced and not super confident in herself or her capabilities, she says to the protagonist, I know I have room to grow as far as believing in myself, but my belief in you is already as the tallest oak. So what she says here literally espouses Aristotle's views on love outright, right? So remember, Aristotle's belief was that the best relationships are partnerships and flourishing. In other words, the highest form of love is a love that best puts you on a path towards eudaimonia. This is another Aristotle term from his Nicomachean ethics, and it can be translated as happiness or flourishing. It represents the highest human good and the ultimate goal of life, which is defined by Aristotle as rational activity in accordance with virtue. Unlike fleeting pleasure or hedonia, it is a state of living well, fulfilling one's potential, and possessing a sense of purpose through virtuous actions. So you see, out the gates, Eupha is saying things and the protagonist is reciprocating things that basically suggest that they see each other as the most important element that can lead to a life of eudaimonia. They see each other as integral inspirations on their paths toward mutually flourishing. Now, you might be thinking that technically they kind of just met, so how am I making so many character-based suppositions? Shouldn't you spend time with someone to know their character? This is true, so I'll just give a very general recap of their social link to elucidate how their continued time spent together continues to champion Aristotle's theory of love. Throughout their social link, Eupha encounters a lot of racism, given the fact that she is a Mustari. I won't go into heavy detail to avoid major spoilers, but at one point she tries to help sick people but is rebuked due to her religious status. However, she remains undeterred and swears to help the sick people, citing the fact that the protagonist didn't let anything stop them when they helped Eupha earlier in the game. So we can see already here the positive amplification of Eupha's character that the relationship has. Later on, after escaping from a sketchy situation in which townsfolk profile and attack them, Eupha says to the protagonist that he always seems unshakably optimistic and wonders why he is the way that he is. She mentions that she feels he never hesitates and she admires that about him, while also implying that as someone who worries constantly, she wishes she was a bit more like that. After praising the protagonist for this, she then says that she essentially wants to be for the sick townsfolk what the protagonist is to her. So here again, Eupha clearly defines the way that her character is developing due to their relationship, and it's not due to attraction or due to either party using each other, it's due to a deep mutual love of each other's character. While Eupha is already a kind and empathetic person, her love of virtue in regards to the protagonist is allowing her to evolve and take on a few of his better qualities that she doesn't already possess. Their love is creating an environment for flourishing, in other words. At the Dragon Festival, you can tell Eupha that you think she is special, and she will respond and say that even if you felt that way, just in the slightest, it makes her happy. Again, another line in the sand is drawn that these two characters have a relationship based on the highest form of love. The protagonist doesn't say, I think you're pretty, or I think you're useful or very strong and we could use that. He speaks to her character and says, I think you're special. To give one more example, at the end of their social link, Eupha says that you were able to help the people that you did, all thanks to a gentle push that you gave her. What she then says as the perfect bow on this relationship that is basically a manifestation of Aristotle's highest form of love, she says, once I learned what frustrated me, what I refused to compromise on, I knew then who I really am at my core, and it led me to a realization. I only want to live in a world where you exist. The protagonist then reciprocates, and Eupha says to him that no one could possibly replace him. So that's kind of perfect, right? In a way, she is simply voicing Aristotle's beliefs here. She says, because of who I am in my core, I only want to be with you. Remember, a virtuous partner mirrors your moral identity back to you, and this is what we are seeing in live time here. Because of their relationship throughout the game and their virtue-based love, Eupha is saying that she was able to not only discover herself, but improve herself into a person that she is proud to be. Remember, the best type of love is a partnership in which both parties help each other to flourish. But at the same time, why do we care about any of this? Why does this framework for a relationship resonate? Well, that's because it answers a deep anxiety that most people have. That anxiety is the question of, am I becoming someone worthwhile? When someone you respect can not only see your potential but encourage your growth, when someone you respect can walk beside you in pursuit of good, it stabilizes your identity and it makes your life feel directional. The best type of romance isn't just romance, it's existential grounding. The best type of romance makes you feel like you have purpose. So to conclude all of this, Eupha and the protagonist relationship isn't built on utility, it isn't sustained by fleeting pressure, it is rooted in admiration of character, tested through hardship, and strengthened through mutual moral growth. They don't just enjoy each other, they refine each other. They don't just stand beside one another, they help one another become who they were meant to be. That is Aristotle's love of virtue, a partnership in flourishing, a shared pursuit of eudaimonia. And that's why it resonates. Because at the core of it, as humans, we don't just want to be loved, we want to be known for who we are at our best and encouraged to reach even higher. We want someone who sees our courage before we do, someone whose integrity sharpens ours, someone who makes us feel not just desired, but worthy. Eupha and the protagonist embody that ideal. The relationship answers a quiet human fear: am I becoming someone worthwhile? In choosing each other and in choosing virtue together, they create not just romance, but direction, not just affection, but meaning. And that's why, in a game that deliberately avoids traditional romance mechanics, Atlus may have written its most powerful love story yet. Happy Valentine's Day.